to my channel. My name is Benny. In today's video, I'm going to show you every single book I've ever given 5 stars. I have not been a reader for a long time. I think it has been probably like a year, maybe like this year it's 2 years. Not really sure, but it hasn't been a long time, so those are all the books that I ever given 5 stars. And I also don't give 5 stars very easily. If I gave 5 stars to those books, it means that they are like top tier of all time. I absolutely love them and I will never stop recommending them, never stop thinking of them, ever, literally ever. And I also want to know and curious to see in maybe like few months or like few years, I don't know, like make a response to this video and see how my tastes change. So let's get started because there are a few books that I want to talk about. I would like to start with the first, I would say like series, not books, because this is a series that it's like a 5-star series, that it's probably the first ever series ever gave me that 5-star feeling. I think like this is kind of one of those that really got me into reading, that really showed me how beautiful reading can be when you find those books that you connect to so much. And the series is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. All 3 of them, I think there are some of my absolute favorite books, and I would love to reread them again. I just have so many other books that I want to get to, and rereading as of right now, because I'm a new reader, it seems kind of like a wasting time when I could just like read books and find other books to love. But I would definitely reread them in the future because I really enjoyed them. The pacing is really fast, the characters are so fun, every single one of them has their own personality, which makes everything so much interesting. The entire plot, the entire world that you're thrown into while reading those books, it's absolutely insane. And if you don't know anything about them, which I don't think that's the case because they're literally so popular and they're some of like the OG books on Book Talk, but those, if you have not read them, please do, because it is very fast-paced and it's basically about the main character that one day she wakes up and she finds out that she inherited the entire fortune of a man that she doesn't know, and then later she moves into his mansion with the entire family, and basically the mansion is filled with puzzles, with riddles, with mystery and games, and they basically have to find out why she was chosen, and how they do that is solving all the riddles, which it makes it really fun. And there's also an aspect of love triangle, and I'm a Grayson girly. If you read it, I love Grayson. He's one of my absolute favorite fictional men ever. I love him. I don't know why. I just love sad boys, okay? That's it. I just love sad boys. And there's a pattern here, by the way. Like, while I was putting out the books, I was like, I don't know why, but girl, maybe that's why I'm single. Anyways, I absolutely love them and I will highly recommend them to every single human being on this planet. I tried to put my mom into it, but she's not really a big reader, but it's fine. I will definitely convince other people to read them. Maybe you guys. If you have not read them, please do. I promise you that you will not regret it. Literally all 3 of them are absolutely amazing and so fast paced. If you are into a slump, get into those books because you'll get out of it. Trust me. The next book I got here, that it is also one of those books that gave me that 5-star feeling, and this is a standalone, and it's Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I cannot tell you how much I love this book. I read this in one sitting and it was probably one of the first time, if not the first time, that I've ever read a book start to finish in one sitting. I ate it up. I was glued to the pages. I could not separate myself from the characters, and I literally went into a slump after this book because no other book could ever top this one. This is one of the very first books that I read, and I just was like, oh my god. And obviously, like, I mean, Taylor Jenkins Reid writing, I am a huge fan of, because she just, I mean, it's not really poetic, but like sometimes I would say like preachy, but in a good way. It's like she always adds those like type of lessons that the characters go through, and it basically teaches you some stuff too. And I really love that. I love when I read her books because I always get something out of it for some reason. Like, she has that type of writing that it's just like, it's not like preachy and like self-help or whatever, but like it always adds something more to your life for some reason, and this definitely did for me. I love Daisy so much and Billy so much and I love the relationship. But Camilla, she can take it all, honestly. Like, I love every single one of them, and the TV show is amazing too, and actors are amazing in the TV show. I love every single one of them, and it's just like incredible. And some of my favorite quotes are in this book. I very often go back and reread the quotes that I annotated because they were amazing and I love them, and I love this book, and I love Daisy Jones and the Six, and I cannot wait for then the tour, because it will happen. At one point it will happen, hopefully, or season 2. I will be happy for both. Please do something, because this cannot be the end. Okay, it cannot be the end. We need to know. We need to know. This book was written in a very particular way, because in an interview form I have not listened to, but I've heard that the audiobook is really, really good as well, because they use different actors for like all the characters that are in it. And if you don't know what this book is about, it's about a band and their coming of age or coming to fame of a band in the 70s, and also Daisy Jones, which is at some point a part of the band, but she also is a singer and a solo artist and an amazing and cool and somebody that I want to be. Like, her good parts, not everything. I love this book, and I love the character, and I love the depth that it was brought into this book, and I love Taylor Jenkins' writing. So 5 stars, obviously. The next book that I gave 5 stars to, I personally, it sounds strange, but like while I was like selecting the books and my favorite books, like I rarely talk about this book. I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but I remember that it was really good and I would love to read it again, because like I can connect to books more. I don't know if that makes sense, but like at the beginning I couldn't connect as much, but now I really have an emotional attachment to a lot of books. But anyways, the book that I'm talking about is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, and I remember loving this book. I remember that it was like the first romance book that I was like, I could get into romance, to be honest. But friends to lovers, to strangers to lovers again, and I love that trope, to be honest. Like, I love when there's that sense of like why they didn't talk to each other. Like, there is a sense of mystery in the book as well, but also the relationship. I feel like when there's friends to lovers, it's always a little bit deeper, to be honest, like even in real life, but like specifically in books, I love reading about it, and it's one of my favorite tropes, even though like I have not read a lot of books like that, and I got some new books that I want to read that are friends to lovers, because I love this one so much, and I love a lot of like rom-coms movies that are friends to lovers, so I wanted to get more. But anyways, this is about Grace, and I don't remember the guy name, but anyway, they meet in college, and then after he has to leave for a National Geographic like thing that he has to do because he's a photographer, and then they completely lose touch of each other, and then they meet again, and it's really beautiful, really fun. And I mean, it's not beautiful and fun, it's like pretty sad at some points, and I've cried, but it's cute, and it's set in New York City, which it makes everything better, and it talks about New York City, and I just love it, and the vibes are amazing, so I highly recommend this one. So yeah, really good. The next series that I absolutely love, and to this day is my absolute favorite series, one of my absolute favorite series. I think there's like another one that's like up there, but this and the other one, it's like my absolute favorite series of all time, and I will never shut up about them. But it's obviously Six of Crows. Both of them are absolutely amazing, y'all. And remember when I said that is like Grayson is one of my favorite men? He was, but then I met Kaz, and then he wasn't anymore because Kaz is just the best. He's just like, I don't know what is it about sad, smart, tricky men. I don't know what is it about that, and I love that. Not just that, because if you don't know anything about Six of Crows, this is the first book and Crooked Kingdom is the second book, and it's about a group of thieves that want to do or have to do a heist, a really big heist. This happens in the same universe as Shadow and Bone, so the Grisha-verse. And oh, by the way, this is by Leigh Bardugo, I forgot to say that. Those are the only books that I read from her. I just love the relationship that they have. I love every single character. They're so distinguished. They have their own personality, their own life, their own, I would say like, not aesthetic, that's kind of like very Gen Z of me, but characters are what makes it the most amazing book. To be honest, like I read it probably like a year and a half ago, and I don't remember the plot points, and if I do, I remember them because of the TV show that I watched twice. Like I literally finished and then restarted again because I love the crows and I love them. I literally sometimes want to skip the part of Shadow and Bone, so that's why I don't know if I want to read them. But I don't remember the events as much as I remember the characters and like everything that they are. I cannot wait to reread it again. I kind of want to reread it this year, so I'm gonna try to do that. But I literally have so many books that I want to get to. Honestly, for Six of Crows, I would do an exception because it deserves to shine again since the TV show has been canceled. F you, Netflix. I didn't like you there. That was true heartbreak. Anyways, let's keep it positive. Speaking of positive and happy endings, that's obviously a joke because the next book is A Little Life. Okay, so before I get into A Little Life and why I loved it so much, I just want to say that I originally didn't give a rating to this, and I really contemplated if I wanted to put it in this video because I don't want you to read it because I recommend it. This is not a recommendation, okay? I just want to talk about it because if there is one book that is my Roman Empire, but not in a good way, that I think about definitely once a week, and I'm not even joking, I'm not even exaggerating, I couldn't not put it in here because this book means so much to me, but like not in a way that it taught me something, thank God. It's just because I love those characters, and especially Willem and Jude, like if they were my family. That's it. And I personally do not remember every single stuff. I think the trauma hit me too much to the point that I just blacked out. Well, the main things I do remember, unfortunately, but I don't want you to read it because of me, okay? I think you have to be in a good headspace if you ever want to read this book. You have to do so many research of the trigger warnings to the point that you almost spoil yourself the book, because honestly, like when I read the trigger warnings, it was like they were a lot, but like they didn't give it justice, to be honest. Like it was even worse than the trigger warnings were saying. You just have to prepare yourself for a lot of heartbreak, a lot of pain. It is very, very graphic, and it is very dark in a lot of ways, and to be honest, like don't read it. If you don't want to, don't read it. It's honestly, it's not worth it because of the curiosity that you have. You just have to be interested in the character and just know that he goes through a lot of traumatic things, and if you have to read it for, oh my god, everybody's talking about it, then don't. But what I will say is that I do think about those characters a lot. Did I enjoy it? No. And yes. Not enjoying it like, oh my god, it's so funny, oh my god, like silly, oh my god, I'm kicking my feet screaming. No. I enjoyed it in a way that I don't even know. I don't know. There's no words to describe how this book made me feel. And it did affect me afterwards. Like I was kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but like it put me in a dark space, to be honest. And I think everybody, honestly, not just me. Yeah. Next, I want to talk about two books that are kind of self-help, but I cannot not talk about them because they kind of did change my life, to be honest. Like I'm not even kidding, especially one of them. That's why I want to talk about it. But first, let's talk about Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir. If I'm not mistaken, she's a journalist. I recently gifted my mom the Italian translation because I just want her to read it because I took out from it so much. I like to think of this book like she is, because it's a she. This is a she. She is the big sister that I never had. And I'm so glad that this book came into my life because it literally gave me so much, and I literally annotated so much of it. I go back to the things that I annotated and just like reread them again and kind of remind myself how that made me feel. It made me feel so seen and so heard like I never felt before. Some of the things that were in this book, I needed to hear them so much. Some conversations that are written in here, they are not very common in real life. You don't talk about certain things so much with people, and it is so strangely beautiful that sometimes we just need to speak up because we literally go through the same thing, especially as women, especially as young women in our early, mid to late 20s. We're all in this together. We are very similar, and sometimes we don't realize it, and sometimes we feel very alone, but we do go through the same thing, so we could help each other sometimes. But so So anyways, this book really showed me girlhood. This book is girlhood. Highly recommended for every single woman that is watching this video, no matter your age, but especially if you're a year 20 or you're entering your 20s, please read this book because you will take out of it so much, and I hope you will, because it honestly helped me a lot and I really loved it. So I highly recommend it, and I'm very glad that I've read this book because I wouldn't say like it changed the trajectory of my life, but it's one of those books that I know that have affected me so much and also affected me in my daily life, which is very uncommon, especially with the fiction books that I read. But this really helped me, so I highly recommend it. And the other one that is purely self-help, and it has been one of those books that I recommend to anyone and everyone. I did listen to it because I don't like reading self-help books, but I want to read this one and annotate as much as possible because I want this book to be the guide of my life, and it's The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. When I started reading this book, I didn't think this book was what this book actually was. Tongue twister. This book is about self-sabotage, but not just that. Like, I just remember like cleaning while I was listening to the book. I was cleaning and I was just like, so many behaviors that I thought were normal or I thought that were part of my personality was actually me self-sabotaging myself because of some trauma that I had in the past. I think this helped me more than therapy, honestly. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It just helped me a lot, and it definitely changed the trajectory of my life. I remember at the time I really put in the work, and I had a lot of things in my mind. Now I kind of forgot because it was kind of like a year and a half ago, I think, when I read this book, and I want to reread it because I remember that it affected me so much and actually like started acting upon the advices that this book gave me. And I highly recommend it to everyone, especially if you're somebody that is learning to love herself or himself, that is looking for their value and being the main character of your life without self-sabotaging yourself. If you are somebody that just doesn't have a great relationship with others because of something that you do, whatever, and if you want to improve your life, if you want to improve your career, your relationships, everything, just read this damn book. I'm telling you that this literally will change your life and will change a lot of behaviors that you have, and it will give you a lot. So please read this. Please do. The next book that I really loved, and I was not expecting to love as much, is Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I don't know how to explain it. It was really surprising because when I read the synopsis, I was like, that is weird. Like, the main character has something with a guy. Something happened to that guy, and then she falls for his brother. That's weird, but I gave it a try and I still read it. If you're reading for the romance, to be honest, it's not worth it. I didn't really like the romance, but I did love the conversations about mental health. I love certain things that are kind of sad, but I felt very seen. There is one specific thing that I'm not going to talk about, but like there's one specific scene that happens. I immediately like started crying because I remember do this thing, and it's not that I don't think that people can notice, but like it just felt weird to see it write it down in a book because it gave the exact meaning that I do it for. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained it correctly, but like, I don't know, that really stuck with me. It felt very good. I felt that I was not alone. It made me cry a lot. Every few chapters I would cry. And I don't know if it was like a very specific time in my life, but like, it just felt so personal. Like, how do you know those things? So, Darling Venom, also the cover, it's gorgeous and I really like it. So, and I love that it's like shiny. So, I would say that this is one of my favorite romance series, but specifically this one book that I think it's a 5 stars, but the entire series is 5 stars, even though like I read the 2.5 books of the series. So, I don't know. And there's 5. So, if you couldn't tell what I was talking about, it's Heartless by Elsie Silver, which is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. I think everybody and their mother is into cowboy romance right now. I don't know what it is, but I'm happy about it. Cowboy romance, honestly, it got me into romance. And this, oh my god, this is single dad, age gap, babysitter, grumpy sunshine. Love the first one, don't get me wrong, and it kind of like got me into the series, but this one, I was laughing out loud. It was so good. It was so good, and the main female character is amazing. Like, I love Willa so much. Like, she is hilarious. And Kate, I don't even know how to explain it. But like, if you have not read this series, please do and thank me later because it's just amazing. And I can never shut up about it. I just need to get into the third one, but I'm like struggling a little bit to be honest because it's a little deeper. And to be honest, I'm not really into that right now. I just want some silly little romance. And they're just like sad at the beginning. I'm also kind of, I'm into a slump right now, in a book slump, so I don't know what is happening to me. Whatever I read, it's just not giving. Next romance that this is my favorite romance of all time, to be honest. I read this book and I was mind blown, and it's like perfection. And I literally would pay people if I had the money or I could make it myself. But I want this book to be turned into a movie. Please, please Netflix, please somebody. The book is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This book is amazing. This is the best rom-com I've ever read in my life. I love the main character, love the guy. Y'all, like I'm usually into bad boys energy or like sad boys and like dark, I don't know. I like black cats guys, if that makes sense. But he's a golden retriever. I want him. This is what I want. This is what I want. It gave what it was supposed to give. And even more than that, it did become very popular around like the fall time last year. There's like a time travel trope in it. It is really cool. I'd never read anything magical realism, and this was the first book and I'm honestly obsessed with it. This is about Clementine West lost her cool aunt that traveled the world, had the most amazing apartment in New York City, and it was just incredible, filled with so many of her things, so many like cool stuff from her travels and whatever. So Clementine was really, really sad and she didn't want to move in, but then one day she does, and when she does, I don't remember the name of the guy, she sees a man in the apartment. And she's very confused. She's like, why are you here? What is happening? I rented this apartment to your aunt staying here, but if you want I can leave, blah blah blah. They both stay, and then she realizes that it's 7 years in the past. She's living 2 timelines, the present and 7 years prior to that, where the man is living. And mind, he is a chef. So he's so passionate about being a chef. I don't know what is happening with the light right now, but something's happening. As I was saying, he's a chef, which is really, really cool, and I just love the passion that he really put in, and I just love the way that he talked about the thing that he loved. And this is not just a romance, a coming of age or kind of like a woman's fiction kind of book. Like the main character Clementine, she is not happy in the job that she's in and she wants to do something else, but she doesn't know what. And the meeting with this guy is very important because it kind of like sparks something into her. And I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know if I did spoil, but anyways, it is really, really cool, and I saw myself in Clementine so much, and I really, really hope that they will make it into a movie because honestly it will make such a great movie, and I think a lot of people will like it, and I just loved it. So I highly recommend it if you have not read it already. It is amazing, especially in the fall time, but you could read it whenever, but in the fall time it's really cool. I loved it, and it's set in New York City. Set in New York City. You guys know at this point that I love New York, and I love when books are set in New York because I want to be there, but I'm here. So the next book is none other than Normal People by Sally Rooney. I recently read this. This is literally all my annotations. I did annotate it a lot. I read the book after watching the TV show. I didn't do the other way around, so I'm not sure, but I can tell why people will not like it because it is very, very, very character driven. I do understand that sometimes it is, I wouldn't say boring, but like if you don't have an emotional attachment to the characters, there is not a lot going on, but at the same time, in my opinion, there was a lot going on. I don't know. It's kind of like 50-50. You either love it or you hate it. I loved it. I think the fact that it's called Normal People, it's so real because it is about normal people. It's about us young people that go to high school, then go to college, and then try to figure out what's next. And I think that is really beautiful. Both characters, Marianne and Connell, they go through a lot. I could relate to some of the stuff that they went through. Both characters are very dear to my heart, and I think Connell specifically, I really related to him in a lot of things, and I also related to Marianne, but I related more to Connell. And I just really love this book. It's about two people trying to figure out life. It felt so authentic, and I really appreciated that. The next books, because it's a series, Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. I enjoyed the Pirate King, the first one, more than the second one, but I still wanted to put them both into this video because I don't think this series is talked about enough, to be honest. I don't understand. This series, it's about the main character, Alosa, which is the daughter of the Pirate King and the Siren Queen. Obviously, I mean, it's not a spoiler, it's written here, so whatever. She's such a badass, and I love how girl boss she is, and I really appreciate the author for bringing in a woman that doesn't need a man. He was accessory, cute accessory. It's about pirates. I love pirates. Very fast paced, very easy to understand as far as the world building, and I just really had a great time. Next book that I have here is one of those books that I have not finished the series for, even though it's like a duology, but I still haven't finished it. But I really love the first book, and it's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I enjoyed this book so much, specifically for the world. There is no world except for one that I'm gonna talk about in a second that I love more. This is my second favorite universe that I've ever read up to now, but I really loved it, and it is more of a dark fantasy, airy fantasy, gothic fantasy, and I loved it so much. I read it during the fall, and it just gave the perfect setting. I love the magic system, magical cards. They have different powers, and the main character, because of a situation that happened when she was little, that she was infected by the nightmare, she's able to spot the Providence cards, which is the cards that I was talking about. There's like a quest that she has to go through, and I cannot wait to read the second book for this because people say that it's even better, and I cannot even imagine. I'm very excited for that. The last two books, but they're part of the series, so I'm going to talk about them together. It is literally perfection in words. I don't know what to say anymore. I think I've said it multiple times, and it's the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I have not read the third one. I'm kind of scared to get into that because I don't want it to end. I really said to let the characters go and to let the world go. So I'm kind of like keeping it aside before I just feel the sudden need to get into it. Only like a few months ago, I read The Ballad of Never After, and then last year I read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm taking a long time with the series because I don't want it to end because I love it so much. I love the world and the writing of Stephanie Garber. She tickles my brain. Every time I read something from her, I think I had an imprinting with her writing. Does that make sense? Like, does that ever happen to anybody? Because something happened that I cannot explain. I have a connection to this woman, and I have a connection to her writing. Dark fairy tale vibe, and I thought that I wasn't gonna like it because I'm not really big in fairy tales. But I think this changed my mind because I absolutely love it. I love the world building. I love the magic system so much. It's so interesting, especially in the second book. This is a 10 stars. Like, this is perfection in a book. This is really good too, 5 stars. But like this, I was like, how does she came up with those things? I don't understand. But thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. That I felt so much for those books without even realizing. I wasn't even crying. It wasn't even like crying sadness of like something. Like, obviously I'm gonna cry because if somebody dies, I'm gonna cry. But like with those, I just felt adrenaline. I felt tickling sensations. I felt weird. I felt good. I don't know. It's just like way that those books made me feel, no other book made me feel. Please, if you have not read them, what are you doing? I have not heard a person saying bad about those books. Not one. If you hate those books, please tell me because I'm actually curious to know why. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm very excited for all the new videos that are gonna happen in the future. And I also moved. I don't live in Rome anymore. I live in Sardinia. And I'm going to be staying here for the next 5 months until September. And I'm excited. I'm scared, but there's so much nature here. I'm literally like 5 minutes away from the beach. So I'm very happy to spend my summer here. And I'm so excited to make summer vlogs, spring vlogs, books and reading vlogs and all that and show you guys around, because here it's really beautiful and I'm very happy to be here. I'm really excited for what's next for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. It will really help, and also comment down below what are your top 5 books. I'm literally looking for some book recommendation. I'm in a book buying ban and a book slump, so I still have my Kindle so I can still read them if I want to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!